Hello. So you're welcome to today's live conversation, live YouTube channel, um, our program. Thank you for always joining me. And today's another amazing edition of our series of raising emotionally healthy children, preventing childhood trauma at home. And today we are having a very important conversation. So if you are a parent or a parent, go ahead and invite other parents. Let's start inviting other parents to this conversation. Go ahead and invite other parents. This is a very amazing topic that I know is a concern for many parents, and we can't afford to be here alone. So if you are joining for the first time, you are welcome. If you have always joined me, thank you for always showing up. I don't take this for granted. So thank you so much as we dive into today's conversation. So welcome you for joining me today as usual. And we always have this conversation every Sunday evening, 7 p.m. West African time. So I don't know where you are connecting from, whether it is afternoon at your end or evening or morning. You are welcome. Thank you for joining. I appreciate so much. Thank you for coming on for showing up, because I can't be talking to myself. I need you to be here with me, and I believe you are getting a lot of value. Today's conversation is something very important for every parent, every caregiver, whether you are a grandparent, you are a parent, you are a teacher, or you are someone who is taking care of a child. This is a very important conversation. We all have to be here. So do me a favor and quickly share this link with a parent, share with a teacher, share with a child caregiver, share with a child teacher, share with somebody who has something to do with a child, maybe an uncle, an auntie. Just share and like the video, and also our contribution as we continue on this conversation. And if you are watching this as a replay, also ensure you share this video with somebody. All right, so my name is Patricia Abokede. I'm a developmental psychologist, a child protection advocate, a parent educator, and a family life educator. And I'm also a trauma recovery coach. I work with individuals to heal from their childhood trauma, and also to prevent traumatizing their children, because whatever you don't know, you pass on. So I work with you to understand your, if you have gone through childhood trauma before, we can look into it, create a program for you, and also help you not to repeat the cycle of trauma on your children. So this conversation is to help us, is to create awareness for us to become better parents. Thank you, Fatima, for joining. I appreciate you. I would like to know where you're connecting from, Fatima. I'm talking to you from Nigeria. All right, thank you for always joining. For those that have been joining me, and if this is your first time, you are welcome. So do well to like this video, share with a parent, a grandparent, a teacher, someone who has something to do with children, a carer of children. Just share with them, because we all have to know how to parent our children better. Many of us didn't get the best of parenting, but of course, if you have made up your mind to be a parent, or if you find yourself in that shoe, then we should do better than our parents, because um, child abuse or childhood trauma creates a long life effect that affects productivity, affects quality of life, affects joy, affects a person's worldview. So today we are looking at how to discipline your children without shame, fear, or emotional abuse? How do we discipline our children? How do we give them that discipline that does not destroy their identity, that does not destroy the, that does not create problem for them in future? That's what we are looking at. Of course, we know that discipline is very important. When we are talking about prevention of childhood trauma or child abuse, we are not saying parents should not correct their children, you should indulge your children. No, because some people misunderstand these things. When we say, okay, avoid childhood trauma, we are not saying don't discipline. We are not saying indulge bad habits. No, we are saying that understanding how to relate with children in a better way that does not create a lifelong trauma. Recently, somebody was sharing with me how his the way his father treated him as a child. He thought the father did not love him because of how he was being treated. He sometimes the way he was punished did not commensurate with the offense until he grew up. Even now a parent, he didn't bond with his father. He's over 40 now. He still have that pain, that trauma in him. It did not heal until his father passed on. So imagine you living with emotional detachment from your parents because of the way they handled something. They could have done better. So if some of us went through these experiences, then the ball is now in our own court. Then do it in a better way. That's what this program is all about. How do we help our children to grow up, to become responsible individuals who are happy, genuinely happy within them, and they are succeeding in life? Not that they are successful, but they are not happy inside of them. They can't cope with pressure, they can't cope with stress because of the emotional bag of the bag of emotional trauma they are carrying up and down. So what we are talking when we talk about discipline, how do we do it in a way that we don't indulge children and we also don't traumatize them? So that is what we are talking about today. So I want to welcome you specially for joining me today. And like I said earlier, if you are just joining, kindly share this link with a parent and a grandparent, a caregiver, a teacher, someone who has something to do with children. And also like this video. It will help YouTube to bring the video to people who will need it. Also subscribe if you have not done that before. So let me ask you a question. When you were a child, how was your misbehaviors handled? How did they handle you? How did your parents relate with your misunderstand with the things your misbehavior? Were you beaten? Were you shouted on? Were you humiliated? What was it? How did you feel those days when you were a child and did something, the way you were corrected? Did you feel it was the best way to have corrected you? Are you repeating that pattern right now? Or are you working on yourself to be a better parent? So how to discipline your child without shame is something very important, without shaming them, without reducing who they are. When your child misbehaves, what is your first response? How do you respond to your child when they misbehave? Is it by shouting, or by threatening them, or by withdrawing affection? Or do you spank them? Or do you compare your child with another child because they misbehave? Or do you calmly try to understand what happened? How do you react when your child misbehave? How? I would like to hear. Or if you can share, let me hear from you. There's no need to feel embarrassed about the way you have been, you have been correcting your children. What awareness is very important. That is why we are creating this awareness, that there are better ways to do things if you are not doing it the right way before. This conversation is not about judging parents. It's not about judging you or to make you feel bad. It's just about helping us to become more intentional in our parenting. Because the truth is that children need discipline, whether we like it or not. They need discipline, but discipline should teach, not traumatize. If you are disciplining a child, you should teach the child, correct the child, not traumatizing that child. But when we don't discipline the right way, we end up, not passing any message at all, rather traumatizing those children, and they live with it for long. So let's look at the difference between what discipline is. That discipline is not the same thing as punishment. Let's look at the difference between discipline and punishment. What is discipline? What is punishment? They are two different things. Discipline a child is different from punishing a child. So what is discipline? Discipline is should help a child to learn boundaries. If you are disciplining a child, the child should learn boundaries, should learn responsibilities, should learn self-control, should learn respect, problem solving, and accountability. That is what discipline is meant to do. Help your child to understand what is boundary, what is responsibility, what is self-control, what is respect, what is problem solving, how do I solve my problem, and how am I accountable? How should be accountable with my attitude, my choices. That is what discipline should teach. While punishment, on the other hand, often focuses on making the child suffer for what they did. Punishment makes the child suffer for what they did, while discipline corrects the situation. So I want to welcome you, Rita. Thank you for always joining me. Thank you so much. Let me know where you're connecting from. I appreciate you for always joining every Sunday. Shout out to you. Thank you for always joining. So do well to like this video, share with a parent, and it's going to understanding the difference between discipline and punishment is going to solve this misunderstanding. Because some people will say, oh, I am disciplining my child, but we are actually doing it in a frightening way, humiliating or hurting them. I've had parents who say, I'm a disciplinarian, but the children are actually not seeing you as a correcting parent. They are seeing somebody, they are seeing a threat, they are seeing somebody who does not understand them, somebody who inflicts pain. So let me give you an example. A child breaks something accidentally, and then a parent, okay, thank you, Rita. Rita is joining from Nigeria. Thank you for joining. I'm also in Nigeria, and I'm talking to you from Nigeria. So thank you for connecting with me every Sunday. I appreciate that. Now, let's assume a child, broke a plate. A parent may react by beating the child or saying, you are too destructive. Just talk to the child anyhow. You are careless. You can't do anything right. Some parents, so a parent may react that way. When another parent may say, oh, you broke a plate. What happened? Be careful next time. You understand that. No, of course, the child wouldn't want to break the plate. Probably the child tripped, or there was an accident or something. You understand with the child that it was a mistake. Sometimes ago, the youngest baby in my house, I think she something happened. She poured water on the floor. I saw the fear in her that she has poured water on the floor, and what I did was immediately The fear was there. She was shocked. She wasn't sure of what I was going to do. I immediately stood up, took the mopping stick, and started mopping with her. And then I saw the confidence that came over her suddenly, and she joyfully, joined me in cleaning the floor, and she was calm. I saw the fact that she was afraid that what will mommy do? Will she beat me? Will she scream at me? But what I did was I quickly took a rag or mopping stick, and then I quickly started mopping it before the water moved to somewhere, and then she joined me happy. They have done, obviously. But the way we handle that situation, either we start screaming or shouting or yelling or beating the child or saying derogatory words to the child would either make the child see it as a correction or affect that child emotionally. So both parents, that the one that shouted at the child and the one that supported the child, they are both trying to address the behavior. But the difference is that one, one passed a message of correction while the other one didn't teach the child anything. So this first one, said something was wrong with you. Can't do something well. What is wrong with you? Why are you so clumsy? Why are you so this? That one is telling the child something is wrong with you. When the other one says something went wrong, the same scenario. One says something is wrong with the child, the other says something went wrong, and you can learn from it. So maybe the child is trying to tidy up the table after dinner or something, and didn't arrange the plates well, or the child tripped on the floor. Probably there was a water on the floor, or something happened. Then the child will learn that, okay, subsequently if water pours on the floor, you should clean it before somebody trips on it. Or if I'm going to tidy up the table next time, I need to arrange the plates very well. Discipline must correct that behavior, must teach, and not humiliate a child. So the way we approach a situation will either do it better or make the child feel inferior, humiliate the child, or make the child feel ashamed or feel rejected. So why shame is dangerous? There is a major difference between saying what you did was wrong and you are a bad child. There are two different things. You are a bad child, what you did was wrong. There are two different ways. There are two different things. The first one, the what you did was wrong. That one addressed behavior. While the second one attacked the child identity. Same situation, two scenarios. What you did was wrong. What happened? Let's learn from the situation and let's correct it. Or you are a bad child. You don't do things well. You are good for nothing. You are this, you are that. They are trying to address a situation, but the way this one, address it shows the child, I'm concerned about your situation. What happened? Let's address it. Let's work on it. Let's help you so that you don't repeat that another time. Another one says you are not good. You are not important. So the way we handle our child's behavior or the situation around them, either give them opportunity to think through situation, or to or you destroy their stupid, you are a disappointment, you will never amount to anything. You are things like you are like your father, you are like your mother. Some people even drag children to their personal issues. They will eventually stop thinking. They will say, okay, they will begin to say, oh, I did something. They will begin to think I did something wrong, and begin to they'll stop thinking I did something wrong. They'll start thinking I am wrong. If you keep labeling them, so they will soon start seeing themselves like they are the one that is the problem. It's not the situation. When we are correcting children, or when we want to discipline them, let's deal with the situation, not demeaning that child. So, and this is where when a child begins to think something is wrong with me, that's where the shame becomes a dangerous thing, because over time the child will begin to be ashamed of themselves, and it will affect their self-esteem. So healthy discipline says you made a wrong choice, but you are still valuable. That is healthy disciplines. You made a wrong choice, but you are still valuable. We are not throwing you away. We are not condemning you. What we are trying to work with, what we are trying to adjust is the situation, and not the destroying the child. Now, fear is not the same thing as respect. Now, we have fathers or parents who inflict fear in a child. Some people say, "Oh, my child must fear me so that they can respect me." It's not the same thing. Fearing a child, a child being afraid of the father is not the same thing as a child respecting the person, or not necessarily father. A child fearing the parent is not the same thing as a child truly respecting the parent, because fear is limiting, respect is powerful. Now, fear and respect are not the same. A child who behaves because they are terrified, they are afraid of being punished, may look obedient, but they are not necessarily obedient. Like I tell people sometimes, somebody can say stand up, inside of you are not standing up. You may be standing up physically, but you are sitting down inside. That is what it looks like when a child is afraid of their parents. Inside of them they are sitting down, but physically they are standing up. Their emotion, their not their mindset is not incongruent with what they are displaying physically. I don't know if you know any parents who will be coming, and once the children hear the father's car sound, they pretend that everything is fine. Some of them start pick up a book and start pretending to be reading. That's fear. The problem is that the father may come in and say, "Oh, my children are well behaved," but unfortunately they are not. They are only showing you what you want to see, and the house is not helping those children. So if a child is afraid of you, what happens when you are not there? What happens when they are no longer with you, when they are in university? What happens? What happens when their friends pressure them? If your children, they are afraid of you when you are physically there, but when you are not there, what happens? I remember when I was in a high institution, I had a roommate who in school she would pay my hair, she would wear trouser, she would put on lipstick, put on makeup, do big girl things. In fact, goes to party. The day she's going home, she will tie a scarf on her head, she will wear a long gown, she will remove the nails she has in her hand, and she will go home as like a very innocent girl. One day I asked her that, "Why do you do this?" Say because at home she dare not wear trousers. She dare not, they must not see her hair. So who is deceiving who? Because the parents insist this is how you must look, she gives them the look, but when she's not within their comfort zone, when she's not within their watch, she behaves the way she wants to behave. So the parents are not helping the child. The child of course it won't be only her, maybe not only her, they will display the attitude the parents want, but outside them they will assume the real person they want to be. So when your children are afraid of you, you're actually not helping them. They will only end up doing what you want them to do, but inside of them they are sitting down. They are standing up because you want them to stand up, but right inside of them they are sitting down. When you are not there, they would display they will display their freedom. So it's important for us to connect, to understand that humiliating children, embarrassing them, speaking them down because you want to discipline them, calling them names, does not really correct them. Imagine a 40 years plus man who is still feeling hot because of the way the father treated him when he was in primary school, and he didn't have the opportunity to make up with the father till the father left. That means live in an adult for as long as they did not resolve that pain. So shaming children, some parents feel when I shame the child, when I talk down the child, the head will be correct. No, it doesn't always work that way. The child may adjust because they want to avoid punishment, but deep inside of them, they are not stupid. They are standing, or they are stupid. They are not exactly what you think they are. So the goal of discipline should not, like I said earlier, the goal of discipline should not be how can my child obey me. The deeper question should be, how can I teach my child to make responsible decisions even when I'm not there? That should be the goal of discipline. When I'm not in that situation, when I'm not in the life of that child at that moment, when my child is not under my watch, when my child is in school, when I'm not within the house, I want my child to be able to make the right decision even when I'm not physically present. That is the goal of discipline. When your child obeys you because they are afraid of you, is a temporal thing. The children are not learning, or that child is not learning from that process. They are not learning through that situation. They are only doing it because they are afraid of being punished. Maybe you have beaten them before, you have done something very, you have threatened to put a mark on them. You have, of course, how parents can. They are only afraid that you should not do that to them, and because they are afraid of that punishment, they would treat their body. No child want to, because when children also carry mark on their body and go to school, they feel ashamed. You see them wearing sweater, wearing things, some children will wear sweater all day. You will think they are cold. No, they're only trying to cover a scar that they have sustained recently from their parents. So when children are also happy to carry marks and all of emotional abuse, normal discipline. When sometimes you emotionally abuse your children, you look as if you are disciplining your children. Sometimes emotional abuse don't look dramatic. It appears in an everyday statement. Emotional abuse doesn't look like you are, because we don't see emotional abuse. We see the physical. If it's a physical abuse, it's evidence. But emotional abuse is more deep, and it happens in a subtle way. For example, if you love your child, you wouldn't behave like this. Sorry, if you love me, you tell your child, if you love me, you wouldn't behave like this. Excuse me, you're telling your child, after all I have done for you, after this, after that, as if you are trying to make your child pay for caring for them. It's your duty as a parent to provide for your child, to shelter them, to protect them. They don't have to earn it. They don't have to pay for your responsibility as a parent. Just things like, you are no longer my child if you don't do this. Look at your mates comparing children. You are embarrassing to me. You are an embarrassment. Some parents say things like that to their children. Nobody would ever love you if you continue to look like this. If you continue like this, nobody will love you. You will not amount to anything. I will stop talking to you until you behave well. All of these things, create emotional abuse to children. All of these things create emotional abuse. This state can deeply affect a child's sense of worth and security. And children don't understand that you are not serious. They feel threatened when you say those words, and some of them take it seriously or take it to heart when we say these words to them, and we assume they will forget about it. I watched a movie sometimes ago. I think the movie was by Jennifer. Well, sorry, not Jennifer. What's her name? I think her name is Jennifer. Is it Jennifer? Funke Akindele rather. What's that movie? The movie, okay, she must be obeyed. movie, the woman became very toxic to her staff and to her family members. At the end of the day, what happened? She was emotionally abused as a child. She had a condition that did not that affected her look and her hair. And the grandmother will always, the grandmother or mother will always say, "Look at her, you are very ugly." She didn't know she was actually emotionally traumatizing this child. The child was small. The child had a condition which wasn't the child's fault, but you kept telling the child, "Look at your hair. See your sister's hair is so full." And that was traumatizing that child. The child felt unloved. It was powerful when she had the capacity to, when she had money, when the power was now in her hand, she ignored the mother. And the mother kept calling her, kept trying to call her attention, but the relationship was not cemented. There was no so she lived in a childhood trauma which affected her so much that even though she was looking like she was successful outwardly, but internally she was bitter. So embarrassing children, speaking derogatory words to them, shunning them, can create a deep trauma in their mind or emotional trauma that we can't see, but they live with it for as long as it is not repaired. So a child should not have to earn a parent's love or by behaving perfectly. It's the duty of the parent to love the child unconditionally. We brought them to life. They didn't write application to be brought to life. So as a parent, it's our duty to care for them, to protect them, to love them. Whether under no condition should we say, "Oh, a child does not deserve love." And I want to tell you something also. So many times children's behavior is a reflection of our own of our own of our own of our own our own of our own of the things we lack. I'm looking for a word. Children's behavior reflects our own inadequacies. So many times, the things we see them do, the behavior they display, shows our own inadequacy. If a child is aggressive, the child is actually speaking a language. If a child is misbehaving, the child is showing you that something is happening. There's a gap that we are not fulfilling, and that child is crying for help. So we don't assume that when children are misbehaving in quotes is because they are bad children. They are only showing us that I need help. I need help. There's a gap. There's a gap that we are not feeling. And what happens? It shows in their behavior. And unfortunately, because many parents also lack, they are not trauma informed, they are also reacting to the children's outcry. So it's our duty to understand and help our children heal. I want to appreciate Abayami Fumilayo. Thank you for joining me from Nigeria. I appreciate you. Do well to share this this link to a parent, to a teacher, and like this video and subscribe if you have not subscribed. Children should not have to earn their parents' love by behaving in a perfect way. Love should remain secure even when behavior needs correction. Even when we need to correct our children, we should still show them love. Don't withdraw your love. Don't try to, I've met a lot of parents, of course. There are some parents create strict, they suspend love because they are trying to correct their children. They suspend love, they withdraw, all privileges. It's a different thing when there's a withdrawal because you want to correct something. Of course, like I've shared several times, you when creating rules, you should carry your children along. There should be a proper conversation, negotiation. When this is not done, this is what will be done. But not when you withdraw love because you feel, oh, your child is not doing well, and they don't understand it that way. They don't see it as correction. They see it like, my parents don't love me, my parents care about this child more than their child. For example, I'm working with a parent recently, and when I was having conversation, when I was assessing the child assumed that the mother loves the other child more than him, and because of that the child is very aggressive. Everything the child is, he's ready to fight because he has assumed that child A is being loved more than child B. The parent may not even notice, or may not even know, or may even know. And that's another thing. That's another topic that day. When we prefer a child to another child, I think we also discussed this earlier in this channel. When we prefer a child more than another child, is another topic on its own. We should show unconditional love to our children, even when we notice that something is happening, because when we show them love and we connect with them, that is when we can actually help them to adjust their behavior. That's when we can actually help them to do better. So, and continuous love does not mean that you are indulging them. That doesn't mean there is no consequences. When we say continue to love your child, it does not mean you should indulge bad behavior, and does not mean there are no consequences for behavior that are not good. It means I love you and I will still hold you accountable. That's what we are talking about. Yes, you have this, I love you, and I love you, but I'll still hold you accountable for your behavior. Both can exist together. You can love your child and hold them accountable for their misbehavior. They can work together. You can't separate that. So let's look at, I want to ask you a question, and I want a honest answer. If you are comfortable, please feel comfortable to answer this question. You don't have to. If you're not comfortable, it's okay, but I would like to hear from you. I want you to think back in your childhood. What happened when you made mistake? What happened? How did your parents, handle your mistakes? Were you corrected? Were you beaten? Were you shouted at? Were you compared with another child? Were you ignored? Were you given an opportunity to explain yourself? And was there a proper way of correcting? Was it a harsh way of correcting, or it was you felt you didn't feel loved? I remember I was on a radio recently, and we're talking about if parenting. We're talking about effective parenting, and I shared my childhood story of how my father especially disciplined us. Growing up, I really appreciate my dad's method of correcting us. What my dad did was, he was always communicating. If you did something wrong, he wouldn't take a cane and start lashing you. He will create a family meeting and ask us to discuss your behavior. None of such occasions, my mom used to, she was a groundnut merchandise. She fried large quantities of groundnuts and supply supermarkets and all of that. So I was very good at eating groundnuts. I can eat a whole lot of groundnuts, and that was telling on my mom's business, and not just me, of course, myself and my siblings. Now my dad was a civil servant, and many years back, civil servants were always own salary. They could owe them 6 months salary and all of that. So my mom business was majorly what was holding the family, and we would eat into her business. It was affecting her business. So my dad, how he corrected that behavior was, he called a meeting and said, okay, Patricia, you are the one that you eat groundnut a lot. I'm going to make you to be in charge of your mom's groundnut merchandise. And what he did was he got all my cloth that has pockets. He removed the pockets and closed up all the pockets. Then asked me to be accountable for my mommy's business. Gave me a book. Once my mommy brought the raw groundnuts, we are going to, have an idea of how much she is going to make, and then I will be the one to distribute the groundnut to people, those of my siblings who will peel the groundnut, and I'll be the one to make sure that groundnut is safe. So I was watching over everybody. I will make sure that nobody is eating too much groundnut. So that made me accountable. Imagine if it was beating. He came and he beat me, put a scar on me. You call me names and say you are good for nothing. You are eating up your mommy's business and all of that. I may continue or even do it in another way or change. When you are too harsh on your children, you harden them. So I learned conversation from my dad. Whatever you do, he will bring all of us together. He did that several times, and I really appreciate him. God bless his soul. He has gone to meet the Lord. He will call us together. We'll have a meeting with us. We'll have a conversation around what that behavior, and everybody will have a contribution. What you did, this is what you did, this is what you did. If he's going to beat you at all, he will negotiate the beating. He will tell you, okay, this is, and that will be when you have expanded your opportunity. So I can actually count how many times my dad beat me, and he will never beat you and put mark on your body. We all turned out well. Of course, we have our struggles. It wasn't that we just everybody have their struggle. There's no way you want to raise children that they won't have their own personal struggle. I'm not saying you should raise children and they should become no challenges. They will have their challenges. Challenges are bound to happen in life, and challenges strengthen us. Challenges make us grow, make us improves us. But what we are trying to protect here is traumatizing our children while we are raising them, and giving them that lifelong unhealed trauma. And the problem is, for those that are not familiar with my channel, scroll through this channel and look at my earlier video when I started this conversation. I discussed so much on childhood trauma. The problem with childhood trauma is that people grow up with it. If you are not healed, you end up hurting people around you. So many marriages are breaking because somebody did not heal of their childhood trauma. So many people are leaders who are traumatizing people around them because they did not heal from their childhood trauma. So it doesn't end with you and your child. It leads. It has a generational effect. And another thing is that if you didn't heal as a child, you didn't heal as an adult, and you start raising children, you will carry it on to your children. They will inherit the trauma and also carry it on. So the goal is to be aware of what can cause childhood trauma, intentionally heal, get a coach, a coach, somebody, a therapist that can work with you, heal. You need that peace of mind. You need it. I work with a lot of people who have gone through childhood trauma, or people who unintentionally are traumatizing their children, and we have ways we work with them and help them heal. Of course, the journey is not one day; it's a long journey. But having that awareness that this is not right, I need to work on myself, and all of that is very important. And avoiding your child from going through that same experience. So I would like to hear from you. If you want to share with us, how did your parents handle your misbehaviors when you were a child? Were you beaten? Were you shouted at? How did they handle this? Somebody shared with me her experience. She did something when she was small. She did something, I don't know, I can't remember what it is, but the story is it's not in my book. Okay, she shared with me how she offended her mom one day, and her mom, got a brand new bunch of broom, locked her up, and beat her, and the broom were shedding on her body, and she had some that stuck on her body, and all of that. And she carried that wound until she read my book, Breaking the Cycles. She read my book and said she had to confront her mom and said, "You did this to me years back. Why did you do that? Was it that you did not love me?" Because she assumed her mother did not love her. Was it that you did not love me? What happened? And her mom said, apologized and said when she was younger, she also had that level of abuse. So she felt that is the best way to correct a child, and she too, she was doing it on her own child. And this person I said has also tried it on her own daughter. She now had to apologize to her own daughter, and they are working together to heal. So you see, that's what I'm talking about. If you are not aware of that, okay, some of the things you are doing can be hurting your children, you will do it, you will not correct yourself, your children will take it up, they will take it to their children, and that's how the cycle. And this thing is affecting generations upon generation upon generations. So we need to break that cycle. So I'll put the link of my book on this video. You can get the book and read it. I also put my WhatsApp contact on the video. Do well if you want me to work with you, and let's connect and do something together. Okay, so let's look at 7 ways to discipline without shame or fear. 7 ways to discipline without shame or fear. So number 1 is connect before correction. Before correcting your child, make sure you understand what happened. Like I shared in the radio program I went to recently, there are sometimes parents will hear something about their children or their child, they just come home, get cane, and start lashing the child without explanation, without trying to understand the side of that child. Before correcting your child, make sure you understand what happened. Ask question. Why did you do this? Instead of saying, why did you do that? Try this. Tell me what happened. Instead of, just lashing that child, you are this, you are that. Ask, tell me what happened. What happened? What happened? You open-ended question that also made the child think through the situation. Tell me what happened. You may discover that what looked like this deliberate disobedience was not actually that. Maybe you thought your child disobeyed you. Maybe that the child was confused. Maybe that the child was tired. It could be that the child was frustrated. It could be that the child was going through peer pressure. It could be lack of understanding. It could also even be emotional need. It could be that your child is struggling with something and you don't even know. But because you open up conversation, you connected with that child, you can understand from the place that child is behaving. You will know whether that child needs help or needs something else. So from conversation, from connecting with your child, you can help your child to solve their problems. So before we start, lashing on the child, connect. Understanding does not mean excusing that child. When you understand that child, it doesn't mean you should excuse a misbehavior. Every behavior that needs discipline should be properly done. Not that you know, okay, no, whatever is not good is not good. Correct that behavior, correct that situation, but don't traumatize your child. It means you are disciplining based on the real situation. There are instances children have sustained abuse, have been emotional abuse, have been physically abused. At the end of the day, when you deep dive into that situation, it wasn't even the fault of the child that situation happened, but you have already caused a damage. That I'm going to share a story of. I read it on the internet some time ago of a child. The father bought a new car. The child was so proud of the father. The child took took a nail or something and wrote on the on the car, and the child came and said, dad, come and see. The child took the dad to the car, and the dad saw the new car there has been, there have been ass scratches. The child took the the metal the child used to write on the car and was hitting on the hand of the child. You are very this, and was hitting the child and was hitting the child. By the time the father realized that what he was doing, the child's hand has been broken. The child was rushed to the hospital. He has broke he has broken, the child has broken his hand, and they have to, the surgery was an intensive one that the child has to lose some part of his hand. By the time the father got home, he went to look at what the child wrote or did on this car. The child wrote, "Dad, I'm proud of you. I love you." And he started crying. Imagine the damage has been done. The car could have been repaired, but the hand has been destroyed. All he needed the father to do is to correct the child and say, "Oh, I love you too, but some other time, don't write on my car." It was just a 5-year-old child, and that child would never forget, because that hand was damaged. Will never forget that experience in his mind, and he was just proud of the father. So imagine I just understand this scenario, understand what I'm saying when it means connecting with your child before correction. Number 2 is correct the behavior, not the child's identity. Correct the behavior, not the child's identity. So what do I mean here? Instead of you saying you are a thief, somebody have told me that the child is very stubborn, and I said, okay, do you call the child that name? Do you say to the child, you are stubborn, you are stubborn? He said, yes. I was telling him, you are stubborn. And I told her, the child is behaving stubborn because the child has heard a number of times that he is stubborn. So what he's doing is just answering to the name you have given him. So when you call a child a thief, you're actually telling the child that he's a thief. So over time, he may adopt that behavior. So instead of you saying you are a thief, you say taking something that doesn't belong to you is wrong. Educate the child why it is wrong. What is the consequences of doing that? Instead of saying you are lazy, say things like, you haven't completed your responsibility. Let's talk about it. You are supposed to do this, you have not done it. What is happening? And that doesn't mean, you go into let's say you ask a child to wash the plate. Okay, he has not done it. So you are a very lazy girl, you are a very lazy child, you are good for nothing. Instead of doing that, what happened? Probably the child is tired. Probably something happened to the child that you need to pay attention to. And that does not mean you go to the kitchen and start washing the plate. No. The child still needs to do the work, but we want to know what happened. And if he's being lazy, then you educate the child on the consequences of laziness. If it is being lazy, okay, this is what happens to lazy people. Educate the child on why the child should not be lazy. And then guide the child on how to ask for help if need be. How to ask for help or how to do it better some other time. That is correction. Then the discipline is you still need to wash that plate. You still need to wash that plate. Then you jumping up, do it for the child, not indulging the child. Correct the child, listen to the child, connect with the child, understand what the child is going on, what is going on with the child, and then instead of you saying you are very disrespectful, you can say, the way you spoke to me was disrespectful. Let's try the conversation again. I've had a number of times my child will just answer me, so I say, okay, what is the best way to say that another time? I say, I should have said I'm sorry, and that's better than just lashing on the child. When children are growing up, they also have their emotional upsurge. Sometimes they are thinking deep inside of them, and when you call them, you abrupt their thinking and they answer in a disrespectful way. Call their attention to it. The way you answered was disrespectful. How would you have answered better some other time? I'm saying you are a very disrespectful child. They have and you don't know teenagers how they do. Like, okay, I just answered you. How does that mean disrespectful? They may not say it out. They will be answering in their mind. and that will make them even tougher some other time. So connect before correction. So understand this. My behavior can be corrected. Your children, when you correct your children properly, your children understand that my behavior can be corrected without my words being attacked. That's what we need to, your child needs to understand. My behavior can be corrected without my words being attacked, without me losing who I'm supposed to be. So number 3 way of disciplining your child without shaming them is use natural and logical consequences. Use natural and logical consequences. Children need to experience consequences, but consequences should be connected to behavior whenever possible. For example, if a child deliberately make a mess, they can participate in cleaning up that mess. If a child misuse a privilege, that privilege may temporarily be reduced while they learn responsibilities. So a child mess up a space, instead of you to go ahead and do all the cleaning and insult them, embarrass them, talk them down, call them name, they should participate in that cleaning. If it's not something too big for them, they can actually do all the cleaning. That would let them know that, oh, cleaning can be painful, and then some other time they will not want to mess up that space, because they know that the person cleaning that space also is putting effort in doing that. And if they did something, let the consequences be commensurate to the behavior. If your child if they misuse, I've said that, if the purpose is not how can I make my child suffer, that's not the goal. It's not the suffering. The purpose is what consequences will help my child learn. If your child misbehave, what will I do to make them learn this process than damaging who they are? That's the different mindsets. How can I help my child to learn and to do it better than damaging them? 4th is give clear expectation. Now, some parents are not consistent. If you are a parent that is not consistent, you are confusing your child. Sometimes children are punished for rules they did not understand. There was no rule, there was no guidance. A typical African parent will say, you know what you should do. You know what you should do. They didn't know. Did you explain to them? Have there been a conversation around it before you ask them? Why are you assuming they know what to do when you did not teach them? So be specific. Before you play, your homework needs to be completed. Before you play, complete your homework. Before you do this, A should be done before B. B should be completed before C. Let them have a clear understanding of expectation. That helps them to understand than assuming they need to understand. One of my mentors told me that every human being wants to be told what to do. So your children want to tell them what to do, not that you keep telling them, to tell them what to do clearly, explain it clearly, than assuming they should know. Assumption can destroy lots of things, because you are assuming somebody knows when they don't know. So let there be a clear expectation of what you expect, a clear conversation of what you expect them. So you can also say, when you are angry, you may use your word, but you may not hit. So if a child that is very aggressive, so of you to say, talk to show them you are very, very this, the child is already angry, already aggressive, and you are also adding your own anger and aggression on the child, which fuels that negative emotion. So you could say things like, instead of you can be angry, anger is normal, but then instead of you to just be hitting your siblings, you can talk, you can walk away, you can help them to process. And anger is a very toxic emotion. If your child needs help, you can get a therapist to work with the child to learn to manage their anger. For African parents or Nigerian parents, it's time for us to begin to use professionals when we know something is going out of hands. All right. So, um, clear expectation make discipline easier. When we have set clear boundaries, clear expectation, when you want to discipline the child understand that I was one that I would want that, went the misunderstood, did what is wrong, and I need to, I deserve that. I deserve the discipline, not just you lashing on the child. So number 50 things you need to do is give children a chance to repair. Give children a chance to repair. If your child hurt someone, don't stop at say sorry. Go and say sorry. People who handle couple relationship do this a lot. Couples, especially the religious leaders, sometimes saying sorry does not mean the person is sorry, has accepted it. You don't just say sorry or you hug each other. That doesn't mean that has resolved the situation. Let's help our children understand the impact of what they did. Ask what happened. How did you think your sister felt? What happened? What led to the situation? The person you did this to, what do you think the person will feel? Because you also have to let them understand the situation from the eyes of the person that they are offending. So if a sibling, two siblings are fighting, so okay, what happened first? Two, the person you are fighting, how do you think the person is feeling? The person you are insulting, the person you are hitting, how do you think? Look at the situation from their own eyes. That will help them to think through it. What can you do to make things better? Okay, the deed has been done. What can we do to make things better so that we don't keep repeating this situation? This teach accountability. When people do things, they don't understand the other side. So if, for example, two people are fighting, I am telling you it's number 9. I'm correct. But you are the other end, you are seeing the number 6. Now, as long as I am arguing that I'm defending myself, I'm 100% right that it is number 9. You are also 100% right that it is number 6. Until somebody tells me, I say, come, do you understand that 9 is looking like 6 at the other end? And then probably you say, okay, can you come to the other end? I say, oh, now I see. Is 6 there? Is 9 here? I would keep arguing that it's number 9. So sometimes there could be two people fighting over something. They are equally right, but the problem is that they are seeing it differently. Help your children see things from other people's eyes. Help them to see it clearly than just discipline them and not helping them to understand the situation and making adjustments. So 6 is teach emotional regulation. Sometimes what looks like bad behavior is an emotional overwhelming child. So many children that are on the aggressive side are only emotionally overwhelmed. A child may be hungry, tired, frustrated, or overwhelmed. So for example, a newborn baby, the best way they communicate is by crying. If they mess up themselves, they cry. If they are hungry, they cry. Whatever it is, something is biting them, they cry. Now, as they are growing up, they begin to learn to express themselves, to say, Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, I need to go to the toilet. Mom, this. Mom, something is biting me. Because their mentality is growing. Now, it's also possible that they have not overcome their ability to control the exhaustion that comes with emotional stress. So they show it with anger. It could be that something is happening around them. Probably the child is growing up in a domestic environment and they are angry at the situation around. They become angry. It could be that somebody is bullying them. It could be something that you don't know. So when we teach emotional regulation, we help children to be able to calm. You might say things like, I see you are very angry. Let's calm down first and then let's talk. When your child, if you have an aggressive child, you don't confront that situation as soon as angry as that child is, you are also angry. You are only fueling that negative behavior. Now, this does not mean remove boundary. That You help your child to see the situation does not mean you are removing the boundaries. It teaches children how to manage emotion. Remember, we cannot expect children to regulate emotion they have never been taught to regulate. You have not taught your child to regulate emotion, they can't handle it. You have to teach them. Everything we do on earth is learned, so they have to learn to handle their emotion. Number 7 is repair after you lose your temper. What if you actually lose your temper? You were on the aggressive side, you flared up, you said something bad, you beat them, you just lashed on them. Of course, you're a human being, you have emotions, you can also get overwhelmed, you get frustrated. That's okay. Now, what do? Because something went wrong, you have shouted, you have done all of this. What do? Don't pretend it did not happen. So many adults feel children should just understand because I'm an adult, I have the right to my emotion, but you don't have the right to your emotion. As much as you want your child to be well behaved, your child also wants you to be well behaved. This will sound weird. You want your child to be well behaved, your child is also expecting you to be well behaved. So don't assume you did not overreact. What do? Don't pretend it didn't happen. Go back to the child and say, I was angry, but I shouldn't have spoken to you that way. I am sorry. Parents can say, I am sorry. It's not only the child that should be saying, I am sorry. I'm not saying every moment you or something happens, you say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. No. What I'm saying is that even when you notice that you have overreacted, and because of course this guilt also comes once in a while, have a conversation with your child. Don't let it just slide, but that is when things are calm. That helps your child to process the situation. That shows. Now when you apologize, that doesn't mean you have lost your authority. What are you modeling? You are modeling accountability, you are modeling humility, emotional regulation, respect and repair. Your child learns that, okay, I can be angry, but after I'm angry, I can repair that relationship. Now, adults can make mistakes and also take your responsibility. That's what your child is learning, that adults are not perfect. They can make mistakes and they can also take responsibilities. This is a very powerful lesson your child can learn. So the discipline without damage formula, what do we do? For you to discipline your child without damaging your child, what do you do? Pause, connect, correct, consequences, repair, then pause. So I'm going to explain this. Discipline without damage formula is pause, connect, correct, consequences, repair. So what is pause? Don't discipline while you are completely overwhelmed. When you are angry, it's not the best time to react. If you are a beating parent, when you are angry, calm down. Pause. So many things we are beating our children for is not necessarily the beating that should be the punishment or the corrective measure. So when you are angry, that is not the time to show all your authority. Just calm down. Go and take a glass of water. It will suit your system, to suit your temper. Calm down. Then 2, connect. Understand what happened. Connect with them. 3, correct. Clearly explain what was wrong. Correct them. Explain, this way you did it wrong. This is how you should do it better. Consequences. Use appropriate and appropriate related consequences when necessary. The consequence should not be bigger than the misbehavior. It should be commensurate. Then repair. Help the child restore relationship or correct the harm. Let's put it into the real life situation. Your child insults a sibling. Instead of you saying you are a wicked child, you kneel down there I don't want to see you again. Instead of saying that, why don't you say, I heard what happened to your brother. You don't speak to people like that way. Okay, let me explain very well. So let me give you a real life situation. Let's say your child, hit the brother or hit the younger sister, or there was something between your children. Instead of you just lashing on the child and say, you are a wicked child, kneel down there, I don't want to see you again, but go to your room, no. You can try something like this. I heard what happened between your brother. We don't speak to people that way in this family. I know you are angry, but you are responsible for how you express your anger. Take some time and calm down. Then I want you to come back and apologize, and let me tell you what we could do differently next time. So explain to your child, oh, you were angry, I understand. But talking to your sister that way is not the best. So that we don't do that in this family. So go and calm down. When you are calm and you are willing to talk, let's talk on the best way to approach this. That shows discipline. There's boundary in that. There's accountability. There's consequences. But there's humility. So your child will learn how to be humble. Okay, so we are going to be closing soon. So one way you can help your child, in when they are going through their emotional, or maybe a child that is aggressive. So let's replace some common parenting statements. Let's quickly, I'm trying to close now. Let's replace some common parents statement that hurt children. Instead of you saying, what's wrong with you, you can say, help me understand what happened. Instead of you to say, you are useless, say, your behavior is not acceptable, but I know you can make a better choice. Instead of you saying, I'll never forgive you, say, I'm upset about what happened, but we can walk through it. So instead of you to say, I will never forgive you, say, I'm very upset about what happened, but we can walk through it. Instead of you saying, look at your sister, say, let's focus on your progress. Instead of, why are you doing this now? Okay. Instead of you saying, if you don't do that, you will see, say, if this happen again, this will be the consequences. Instead of you saying, because I said so, try this. I'm your parent, and this is the boundary I'm setting. Let's explain why. You don't have to explain every single decision, but whenever possible, help your children understand the reason behind boundaries. These are very important things. So I believe we have got a lot of value today, and I know we are working on ourselves to improve in our parenting, and this is going to help us. So I'm going to give you a challenge this week. So the challenge is 5 days challenge. What I want you to do differently this week. Day 1, remove one insult or shaming statement from your vocabulary. So if you are a parent who insults your child, you lash on your children, remove one. Change how you speak to your children. Day 2, catch your child doing something right and acknowledge it. Many parents that always see what their children is doing wrongly don't appreciate them when they are doing what is right. So find out something your child is doing well this week and acknowledge their efforts. Day 3, when your child misbehaves, ask what happened before correcting them. When they misbehave, ask them what happened before you start correcting. That will help them to also see through the correction you are giving them. Therefore, give one logical consequence instead of an angry punishment. Give your child a logical consequence of, if this happens, this is what will happen, than punishing them. Then day 5, have a conversation with your child about how they experience discipline at home. Have a conversation. Something like, ask them, when I correct you, what when I correct you, what helps you learn? All the time I've corrected you, what helps? You can also ask them, is there something I do that make you feel afraid to tell me the truth? This will also help you as a parent. If your children can't tell you the truth, they are afraid of you to say the truth, it's not going to help your parenting. You're actually not parenting healthy children. Is there anything that makes you feel afraid of telling me the truth? Parents, this second question is very important. You may sound uncomfortable, very important, and you may need to ask your child. I remember I did it for my children. My daughter, she was much older when I started my child protection activism. I called her and I told her, okay, I want to start something. Mommy wants to start talking to parents and to work on child abuse. Is there any way I have hurt you, or is there anything you think I need to correct? And she told me, she was just 5 years old. She expressed to me that the way I used to shout at her, she did not like it. It made her to abuse me in her mind. Imagine a 5-year-old that is becoming toxic in her mind. And I apologized, and we started working on ourselves. It's not a day thing. You are working yourself as a parent. You're also helping your children to heal. You're helping them to become better people, which is going to be beautiful for all of you. So, in closing, as we come to the end of this conversation today, I want you to remember that discipline is not about breaking a child's will. It's about helping a child develop the ability to make healthy, responsible choices. We don't want children who behave only because mom is watching. We want children who eventually develop their own internal compass. They are well-grounded, they can make decisions themselves, they have self-control, they make right decisions whether you are there or you're not there. We want children who learn, I can control myself, I can make better choices. When I make mistakes, I can take responsibility. I can respect boundaries. This perhaps is very important. Even when I make a mistake, I am still worthy of love and respect. Children want to know that even when I make mistakes, my parents still love me and they still respect me. Parents, you don't have to be perfect. No, children are not looking for perfect parents. All we did is you be patient with your child. You will lose your patience sometimes. You will make mistakes sometimes. What matters is that you keep learning, you keep preparing, and you keep growing. Parenting is a journey, and when you learn and you grow, it improves your parenting. It helps you to raise healthier children, and it helps you to have a beautiful home, a home where children feel comfortable, feel safe around their parents. Because emotionally safe parents isn't about never getting it wrong. It's about you refusing to make fear and shame the foundation of your children's development. So I want to encourage you that as a parent, this is one discipline habit you want to change from I want to hear from you. What is the one discipline habit you want to change from today's conversation, what we have said so far? What is that one thing you want to work on, that you want to change? So is it that you want to stop shouting, or I will stop comparing my children, I will stop using shame, I will apologize when I get it wrong, or whatever it is? I want to hear from you. What do you want to start to change from today's onward. So if this conversation has helped you in any way, you have learned something new today, how to discipline your child without shaming them or humiliating them, I believe um, it is worthy for you to share this video with a parent. We are all parents, we are all learning. There's no perfect parent. What matters is parenting with intention and being and helping your children to grow up to become more responsible and you know. So share this video with somebody. Subscribe if you have not subscribed. Like this video. Let it come up for people who need this video. We want to reach 500 subscriber and possibly the end of this month. Help us to achieve this by sharing our videos and subscribing, and also helping us to reach as many parents or caregivers, children caregivers as possible. So raising emotionally safe children is what we have been talking about, preventing childhood trauma at home. Because child protection doesn't only happen when we respond to abuse. It's not when we don't have to wait for abuse to happen. We want to help children to grow in a safe environment. Thank you so much, Rita. Thank you for the lesson. Thank you, Ma, for the lesson. So thank you so much. I appreciate you because you are learning. So join me next week on next Sunday on Healing Conversation with Patricia Abokede, and I believe we are getting value. I'm also enjoying this moment, and I'm also learning as I'm teaching you. So let's grow together, learn less together. If you want to work with me, reach out to me with the link I'm going to share on if you want me to work with you rather, you can connect me on WhatsApp. I'll drop my link, my WhatsApp contact on this video and my other resources on this video. So join me next week on Sunday 7 p.m. West African time. Let's have another conversation on parenting. Thank you so much and have a wonderful week. Bye.